Hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drinkwing Gamers. Somebody me on Twitter, The Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Echo, TJ's Path. So, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, y'all. Please stick around and enjoy some content for me while you have your delicious eggnog and your hot chocolate and your rum, and enjoy your presents and whatever gifts you got this year. Let me entertain you guys while you just sit back and enjoy your evening. So let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm Chan, you are up. And let's go. There we go. Alrighty. Okay. At the diner. Nothing could ever go wrong in a diner. Okay. She's wearing pants now, but there's definitely still something off about her. Her eyes are wide. Her smile more like a grimace as she sits down her glasses and straws. She takes her orders well enough, though, and Jenna waits patiently as Carl and I order a meal and TJ gets a smoothie. Carl methodically tears off one end of the wrapper off his straw before he blows on the other end, shooting the rest of the wrapper at me. I flinch and try to catch it, failing as it falls to the floor. Jenna clears her throat loudly. So, where is it? Carl looks at her, the straw still in his mouth. Huh? Oh, right! Carl reaches into his pocket and then pulls out the envelope. He pushes it onto the table, face up. There's writing in black marker on the front. Treasure hunt number 7. We all stare at it. Should I read it? Carl sets a hand down on the letter. Or someone else? Carl's eyes briefly flick over to TJ, then quickly look back down at the letter. TJ's hand comes up, and then surreptitiously scratches at an ear before letting it fall back onto his lap. It does seem appropriate that TJ open it, but if he doesn't want to, Carl looks just as hesitant. So I finally reach out and gently slide it out from under his hand. I can read it. No one objects, so I open it carefully, not wanting to rip anything as I pry the adhesive apart. A chill goes up my spine for some reason. A strange, surreal vision comes to my mind's eye of inky blackness leaking out of the envelope, spilling slowly across the table. I can feel it, too, like a cold draft is wafting from inside. I pause, feeling an emptiness in my chest. What the hell? I give my head a small shake, breaking out of the trance. I guess it's only natural I feel this way. That's Sydney's handwriting on a letter sealed after he licked it. He loved making these treasure hunts. It's really sad, so it makes sense that I'd feel this sudden drop in mood. I swallow as I continue to pry it open, the feeling getting worse and worse as I do. When it's finally fully opened and the feeling slowly subsides, tension in the air seems to melt away too, like the whole town just let out a sigh of relief. I look up for a moment at the others, wondering if they're feeling the same way. It's hard to tell as they're all intently looking down at my hands. I quickly look down again and stick my fingers inside, feeling a piece of paper catch on a pad. Gently, I press down on it and slowly slide it from the envelope. It's bright white copy paper, folded once in half. It's been creased so long that it's starting to part at the fold. In the middle part so that the edges are barely holding it together. Black blotches bleed through the paper, probably written with the same thick marker that was used for the envelope. I gently unfold it, not wanting to rip it apart more than it already has been. The big blocky black letters are sloppy and childish. Even though it's only a few sentences, it covers the entire page. The last few words trail off into a tiny, almost illegible scrawl. It droops off down the side of the paper as Sydney realized he'd ran out of room at the end. Okay, I clear my throat and start reading aloud. Welcome to treasure hunt number 7. This is the biggest one so far, and it took a long time. So no cheating this time. I'm talking about you, Carl and Chase. No skipping steps. First clue, these things fly really high. It's in their home and with my comb. Chase, you don't have to do this one. I know you hate it. You'll see if you figure it out. Good luck, guys. Sid. Well, something with spiders, apparently. I feel my throat close up just a little as I stare down at his name. He always wanted to go by Sid, but it never stuck, so none of us ever did. It just didn't suit him. I look back up at the others. Carl is still staring at the paper, and TJ's looking out the window again. Jenna has a hand up her mouth, staring as well. Hand up to her mouth, not hand in her mouth. Jenna's whole hand is in her mouth. Wow. Then she wipes at her eyes, and I look away. I guess I never really thought about how this might affect Jenna. She and Sydney never really got along because of the way he treated TJ. But still, he was just a kid, like the rest of us. Carl lets out a ragged cough. That whole cheating thing was totally you, Chase, not me. I look up at Carl, raising a brow. You're the one that told me to do it. Carl smirks. And you're the one that did it. What did you do? TJ asked quietly from his corner, finally looking away from the window. Well, Sydney liked to reuse certain hiding spots. I mean, there was only so many places he could use. Yeah, and Chase went straight to Sydney's mailbox and ruined the whole thing like a boss. I was like 8. Turns out it was the last spot and he got the prize. Carl makes finger quotes around the last word. Yeah, one of those plastic clapper things we used to get in elementary school for reading a lot. He was so mad. Yeah. I remember dropping it on the ground because of how lame it was. I also remember Sydney crying, but I'm not going to bring that up. Carl seems to have at least lightened the mood, though, and Jenna stopped wiping at her eyes. I'm starting to think TJ was right about this whole closure thing. I know where he's talking about for this one, though. I tapped the paper with a finger. Yeah, it's the birdhouse. Birdhouse? Where is that? The forest. TJ sits up straighter, ears up as well. The birdhouse is one of the trees. Is one of the trees close to the road. The birdhouse is one of the trees close to the road. Oh, well, I never went in there because of all the shit. Sorry, stuff that would get in my fur. TJ looks back out the window. The sun gone now, though the clouds in the sky are still tinged red. Do you guys want to do it tonight? Really? Really? It's getting kind of late and we still gotta eat. Carl looks eagerly over at the front counter, through the small rectangle that leads to the kitchen. We can use Chase's car. Besides, it might be kind of fun in the dark. TJ adds the last bit meekly. Oh, hell no! As long as you guys know where it is, it shouldn't be a problem. I gently fold the letter back up and start tucking it back into the envelope. That works. What did you mean by saying you didn't have to do that one, Chase? I look up at TJ, then back down at the letter as I gently press the lid of the envelope closed. I thought I saw something and got scared one time. It was a long time ago, though. At least that's what I think he was talking about. Jenna clears her throat, seeming to have collected herself. I think I remember that. My parents told me about it. I frown. Really? I didn't like the idea of that. What did you see? I shrug. A person in the trees. A hanging person. Oh. TJ shudders. So hell fucking no going there tonight, eh? They're going there tonight then. Sorry for the F word, Tej. It's fine. I saw a lot of things as a kid. I'm not going to tell them how I'm definitely still scared of that place. Besides, TJ looks really eager to start this, so I'm not going to ruin it for him. But really, that's not what's bothering me right now. I look down at my hands as I try to work out a timeline in my head. When was it that incident happened in the forest? I thought I'd been about 10 at the time, since that was when I'd started going to a psychiatrist, and I'd started going because of that. But that would be impossible because... Here we are! A plate with a massive burger and steak fries lands in front of my face. The big coyote sets a smoothie down for TJ and an even bigger veggie burger down for Carl. Hey Janice, is Julian working today? Janice smiles at TJ. No, dear. He's only here when I'm not. He'll be in tomorrow if you're looking to find him. Okay, thanks. Janice then clutches her tray to her chest and watches us for a moment. Listen, Chase and TJ, why don't you come by my house again when you get the chance? I look up at Janice and see that she's got a strange look on her face, confused and worried looking. What's wrong, Janice? TJ's voice is full of concern. Did we do something wrong? No, you did everything wonderfully. I just want to have a talk about the way I acted the past few days. Janice lets out an exasperated-sounding laugh. Not really sure what came over me, just now realizing how strange it all was. He glances at Carl. But we can talk about it later in person. Enjoy your dinner. She bustles off, tray still held against her body. Carl watches her go, stuffing a few fries into his mouth. What was that about? The way Janice had looked at Carl makes me think she doesn't want him knowing about what happened. I think she just feels bad for making us work so much. I look over meaningfully at TJ. Oh, yeah, maybe. TJ quickly starts sucking on his straw. Well, she should. Jenna's sitting back in the booth, having taken out her brush to start grooming the fur on her face and head. I inconspicuously slide my plate a little further away from her. Well, once we finish, we can go get my car and head to the forest. As I lift my burger and take a bite, I look over at the counter where I see Jenna leaning over her notepad. Her shoulders are shaking, and it takes me a moment to realize that she's crying. The forest is really just a patch of trees on the side of the road near Leo's house. While it's technically small, it still covers several acres, which is enough to get lost in. The sky is a soft blue now. Just enough light to see by. It won't be long before that won't be the case, though. I pull off to the side of the road in the spot where I think the birdhouse might be. It's been well over a decade since the last time I'd seen it. This is probably where the treasure hunt is going to end, considering the time that has passed. The birdhouse probably isn't even there anymore. We all step out of the car into the warm evening air. Carl folds his arms on the hood of the car and grins at me. See? Even with the sun gone, it's roasting. Least you can do is drive me home now. Yeah. I look over at Leo's house, but his truck is gone. TJ catches my glance. I might tell him what's going on if we find something and you want him to join us. TJ picks at his claws. It's all right. I give him a quick side hug as we step up to the edge of the trees. I can see why TJ doesn't want to tell Leo about this. He was right about Leo pretending it didn't happen. I can't imagine it would go well if we told him about drudging up old Sydney scavenger hunts. So, where is it? Jenna looks into the empty ditch between us and the forest, wrinkling her nose at the old scraps and garbage inside. Well... Carl looks up and down at the tree line, squinting. It kinda looks different now, but I think it's about here. It's only like, what, 10 feet in right now? Carl looks at me. That sounds about right. We can fan out and find all the fan out and check all the trees that close to the road. TJ jumps across the ditch lightly, much more lightly than the clumsy hop I execute right after. I land unevenly on the opposite incline and windmill in my arms as I lean back. Carl starts laughing before I even fall, but TJ reaches out and grabs me by the shirt, yanking me back up from the ditch. I fall into him awkwardly and quickly step back, brushing myself off, even though there isn't anything on me. Are you okay? I'm fine, thanks. I glare over at Carl, who's still laughing. Did you even try, man? He leaps over easily, clearing the ditch along with a few more feet. That's not fair, I'm an otter. Don't let that hold you back from achieving your dreams. Jenna elects to just delicately step around the garbage before climbing up the other side. It's okay. You swim better than any of us, Chase. I sigh. Thanks, TJ. I turn back to the forest, which is much darker as the light struggles to filter through the branches and leaves. Well, let's start before it gets too dark. As we spread out amongst the trees, I'm struck with how quiet it is. The only sound is the crunch of our feet on the dead vegetation, and that starts to fade as the others move further away from me. I zigzag through the trees, trying to get a look at their full circumferences. From what I remember, the birdhouse was a plain old wooden thing that hardly stood out from the trunk that it was attached to. We might not see it if we're not looking right at it. While it's been a long time, walking between these trees does bring back some memories. We stopped coming here after what happened to Sydney, mainly because this was his favorite place to hang out. He liked to play capture the flag here. I can still remember how fast he was, how I'd only catch glimpses of his tail between the trees before he disappeared with the flag. His team won almost every time. The summer of 2002 was the last time we played. Sydney had even been getting along better with TJ then. That might have been the best summer of my life until it happened. It was almost like Echo saw us having too much fun and wanted to end it. For good. Sydney had still been a dick, though. The image of Sydney whipping TJ mercilessly with the towel we used as a flag comes to mind. I move closer to the edge of the trees. Move closer to the edge of the tree line before slanting back in again. Looking up between the branches, I see that the sky is a darker blue now. Pretty soon it'll be pitch black. It was about this light the last time I was here. I'd come alone, and I was maybe 10, maybe 9. It's hard to remember now, but I think I'd gone there. I'd gone there because I was sad. Sorry, guys, I'm just a little bit tired. Just a little. I had a lot of food. That languidness is settling upon me. Alright. I'd had good memories of the forest, so I thought going there might make me feel better. I was standing in the forest waiting to see if I did feel better. It didn't happen, so I'd sat down in the leaves and started crying. I was there for maybe 5 minutes before I heard some branches creaking above me. I looked and saw feet swinging around. This confused me, so I stood up and backed away, staring up as I slowly realized I was seeing a fox being hung by his neck. Even now I can remember the way he looked, his overalls and his white shirt. His head had been tilted down toward me, his tongue lolling out of his muzzle, his eyes blank. I can even remember what looked like pinkish-red blood on the white fur of his chin. Then I tripped over a branch, and when I looked back up, he was gone. I can't remember much after that except that I had gone home and told my parents. That ended up with me seeing a doctor. They never found anything wrong with me, at least anything that might relate to seeing things. In the end, we were told that sometimes kids hallucinate, that it would stop happening as I got older. I hug myself, feeling cold and a little scared now that I brought up that old memory. Well, I know that it was I know that was at that age where kids hallucinate most often. I still can't get out of my head how real it had been. Still, it's not exactly what's giving me the chills right now, because I just realized that had been the summer after Sydney passed. That's why I was sad, because I remembered how happy the summer before that had been. So what Sydney wrote doesn't make any sense, unless I'm going crazy. A creak behind me makes me jump and I whirl around, eyes scanning the branches, terrified of what I might find. But there's nothing there, just branches creaking in the wind. I stare for a while longer before a shout from far down the line of trees makes me jump. Found it! It's TJ's voice, high-pitched and excited. I shake myself out of my trance and start jogging towards where the lynx's voice came from. Maybe I've confused things and I'm just remembering things incorrectly. It's the only thing that makes sense. As I come up on the lynx, Carl and Jenna are already there, standing around a tree trunk. Sure enough, a little wooden birdhouse is tied to the trunk with rusty wires. I can't believe it's still here! It does look pretty beat up. Jenna points to a little wooden plug in the opening. It's closed up. Think it's been closed up this whole time? I don't know, maybe. TJ pokes at the plug with a claw, and then grips around the edges with all of his claws before gently pulling the wooden cork-like thing out. A thick, sticky-looking trail of cobwebs follows it. They all stare into the dark hole that's revealed. Chase, want to reach in there? I'm sure there aren't any spiders. I shiver involuntarily. I don't really want to either. Jenna sighs before pushing past TJ. Bending over, she picks up a twig and sticks it into the hole before swirling it around. When she pulls it back out, it's like she's made a cotton candy cone of spider webs. As she drops that, then takes out her phone, turning on the flash before holding it up to the opening. Well... We all wait anxiously for her to say something. There is something here. With that, she reaches in with just her fingers. After a few crinkling sounds, she pulls out a Ziploc bag, and inside is a folded up piece of paper and a blue comb. Holy shit, no way! Well, no one ever comes back here, so I guess it makes sense. You actually put a comb in there to make it rhyme? Jenna makes a few jerking motions away from the birdhouse to get rid of the cobwebs. She looks around, then sticks it out to me. Since you read the last one. Okay. I glance at TJ, but he doesn't make any indication that he might want it. The bag is covered in what looks like dirt and cobwebs, a few clumps of both dangling from the bottoms. Good lord, I'm tired, guys. Get some coffee after this. I open it carefully. When I pull out the paper, I can tell it's been wet a few times. I think it's a little crumpled, but when I unfold it, the water damage isn't bad enough that I can't read it. Ugh. Saved by the bell. Alrighty. Alright, y'all. Hope you all have a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. If a super thanks or a tip if you can, it always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!